Lovely. Okay, great. All right. So can you just introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, 100%. So my name is Brandon Williamson. I'm the owner and director of Where You, which is a digital advertising agency. I also am a co-founder of Industry Set, which is another business that helps electronic music producers create more opportunities for themselves and really build a career. So I suppose my main kind of character traits are that I'm, I suppose, more business and entrepreneurial. I'm typically in ads and on podcasts, or actually like an hour after this, I have to do a podcast. So yeah, that's kind of basically who I am really.
Okay, awesome. So today we're going to be talking about the program that you did with
Mm-hmm.
me, the Confident
Yeah.
Communication Program. So what I'd love to know is how you describe yourself before coming into the
Mm.
program. Like, what problems were you experiencing?
100%. So I think a lot of what I was doing before was I was in a lot of ads and had a lot of success with ads. I was on podcasts a lot, but there was a lot of volume there, but not very much feedback.
Mm,
So my ads would do really well, and like creating content and like having a YouTube channel as well, which I actually forgot to mention too. I was doing a lot of presenting, but I was trying to improve through just repetition without feedback. And so the analogy that I kind of draw it to is like I like hyper obsessing over stuff quite a lot. When I was just trying to get better at chess, I didn't just play a lot of chess games. I got like a chess coach in France, and then we barely even actually played chess. All we did was go back through my games on chess.com and just give me feedback. So the next time I would play a game, I would be like, oh yeah, like I made this mistake before, just don't make that mistake again. And so that was essentially me with presenting, was just a lot of repetitions, but not very much feedback, and just kind of like trying to force my way through things. Like there was a lot of things that we picked up where I was doing a lot of like pointless gestures and things like that, and then like not looking at the camera, which was reducing my connection, and just little things like that, which really kind of added up.
And what was the impact of that for you? Like, when I say that, I mean, like, what problems were you encountering as a result of that? Like, obviously, you wanted to
Mm.
get better at presenting because you like being good at things, right?
Yeah.
What was showing up that made you think this actually is something I definitely need to improve?
Yeah, I think it's the fact that a lot of, for me anyway, presenting is kind of the lead KPI to making more sales, ads performing better, having more impact on podcasts. And because I was just doing so much of it, it's just a really big opportunity for me. And
Mm,
so I was kind of just, I don't feel like I was wasting those opportunities, but I definitely wasn't using them to their full potential. Whereas now, like I've got like a fucking warm-up routine. Um, the state management stuff that I'm doing, and it's a lot more conscious rather than just being unconscious. So I basically went from, what is it? I think we talked about it, which was like unconsciously incompetent to consciously incompetent to now conscious competence,
yeah.
and really kind of improving my presentation, which has a couple of different effects, which is like I have more authority, like I come off with more confidence, which I don't think I didn't before, but it's just really like amping up all these little things, and there's those little like 1, 2, and 3% improvements across the board that really add up exponentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And that 1% space, one, two, three, four, maybe even 5% kind of space at the top actually yields big, big, big
Mm,
results, right?
mm. Yeah, like one of the things that I meant, I think, yeah, we talked about, I think it was like week 4 or week 5, where my friend, I was just having dinner with my co-founder and friend Jackson for Industry Set, and he goes, oh, how's the voice coaching thing going? And I was like, yeah, it's going pretty well. He goes, yeah, you seem different, like you're making eye contact this time, which you usually never do, because you seem different. And so he made that comment, oh, that's good feedback. And then we were leaving, he's like, yeah, I want to do whatever you're doing, like you're just like an entirely different person.
Yeah, amazing. It's
Mm,
amazing, right? Like it really does make a difference to tweak those kind of like top end stuff,
mhm.
especially if you've
Yeah.
already got a lot of the fundamental skills in place and you're already using them. Um,
Mm.
Having the support is the thing that gives you access to those sort of top percentage pieces, which is
Yeah,
really cool.
100%.
Yeah. So, what I'd love to know, and this is really
Mm.
helpful for other people who are watching these videos, right? Like, what hesitations did you have before coming into the program?
I actually personally, I didn't have any hesitations before the program. I do a lot of coaching programs and education stuff myself personally, so I'm very just like I'll just lean into things. But
Mm,
like the first and second week, it was very. I think we talked about it. It was very surprising because I was like, oh, like I'm gonna learn how to say and ah less. And then my friends were asking me about he goes, oh, how's the voice coaching going after like week 3, week 4? And I was like, well, I've been sitting wrong my entire life. I've been standing wrong my entire life. I've been breathing wrong my entire life. I have childhood trauma that we're working through. There's like ambush therapy that I'm like going through. And for me personally, like at the start, there was like a little bit of resistance because I was like, oh, we're just going to look at my old YouTube or podcast appearances and just do the audits on them. And then we were like doing like embodiment exercises, and surprise, there's quite a lot of toxic masculinity in me. And I've always been like opposed to the idea of going to therapy or anything like that, because the thing we were working through was like, my feelings don't matter. I just got a bunch of work to do. Who gives a fuck? And so there was a little bit of resistance at the start where I was just like, I had to talk about my feelings and like things that happened to me. I was like, that sounds stupid. How's that help? But again, like I like leaning into things anyway. And so whenever I feel a little bit of discomfort, I'm like, okay, like there's probably some work to do here then. So that was my only real hesitation, but it wasn't before the program. It was like week 2 or week 3.
Yeah. When we started digging into like
Yeah.
personal stuff, right?
Yeah. I was like, why the fuck are we to talk about this? And there was like one exercise you like got me to do. Like, how did that go? Like, I hated that. I never wanted to do that again.
Yeah.
It was really useful in the end. And that was what unlocked everything else afterwards. Like that was right before I got that comment from Jackson. It was like, you seem different. And
yeah, that's amazing. I mean, starting on the inside is always challenging because you have to go deep quickly
yeah,
for it to be good, right? But like starting on the inside is what makes all the outside stuff better anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So why'd you invest in the program? What reasons do you have for spending money on something like this, and time, right? Because you're not just investing your dollars, you're investing time and energy and all that kind of stuff as well. So why'd you invest?
Yeah, well, we talked about this like right before I did join the program, which is you speak your entire life. And so I always say that like, well, it's true, because your entire life is just shaped by all of your decisions, and a lot of your decisions are based on your ability to communicate and influence other people. And so you spend your entire life speaking, but you never particularly spend any time, a lot of people don't spend any time trying to hone that craft and get better at it. It's a lot like I've recently started, like, again, like I do lots of different things. Like I've recently started doing breath work and things like that. And it's funny because you read a book on breathing, and like, that sounds silly. I've been breathing my entire life since I was born. And so this is, one of those things where, you speak from age, children start speaking 5 or 6, but you never craft that instrument that you literally use for your entire life. And so, yeah, knowing that I use this tool every day, and it influences not just like my business, but like my relationships with friends, families, girlfriend, things like that. I knew that would be like a really high leverage opportunity for me to really craft, what it is that I want out of life.
Yeah, awesome. Which is really about return on investment, right? Like that's what that leverage piece is. Like what and do you feel like you've had a good return on your investment? Have you got stuff that you can leverage?
Yeah, 100%. Doesn't, for me personally, like with businesses, I've certainly noticed it because I do sales presentations where I do one-to-many. I do sales presentations where I do one-to-one. I've been building, stronger rapport with both clients, which improves client retention, and then, and then, and then also prospects, which improves conversion rates. My most recent YouTube videos have actually outperformed everything else that I've ever posted ever. I forgot to mention that, by the way.
You have not told me that. That's so fucking cool.
Yeah. So my 4 most recent videos have outperformed, because like in your YouTube stats, it will show you how that video ranks in views against like the same day and like duration since posting. And my 4 most recent videos have outperformed everything else, which is, a good indicator that down the line they'll continue to rack up views.
Yeah.
And then from that also, it's not just views, but I also have like an online community of club promoters that I just help, because that's what my YouTube is about. That's been growing as well. It's also led to whenever I'm doing speaking presentations, I'm just presenting better. We're getting better results for like the members of my With You community, because I'm speaking clearer and more articulately, so they're understanding concepts better. So, and again, it's like looking back to what I was just saying like 90 seconds ago, which is you speak your entire life. It's the tool that you try and use to connect with everyone, regardless of what the relationship is, and everything has just been like connecting basically.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, that's so good.
Mm,
I want you to tell me a bit about like what's changed. And like you
hmm
just did that, right? You talked about what's changed in your business and the way you're seeing it be
hmm
reflected in kind of like the environment and
hmm
the things on the outside of you. I'd love to
hmm
know what's changed on the inside.
Yeah, 100%. Communication, it's funny because it comes up like every week. It certainly feels a lot more authentic, which is literally the name of the program, authentic
Yeah.
communication. It certainly feels a lot more authentic. There's no like this thing, there's no synthetic, forced kind of what's the phrase that I'm looking for? There's no forced kind of veil to my, oh, I need to look like this person or sound like this person. It's very, very much more natural and less
Yeah.
forced. I'm not trying to like play some kind of character that I just think is well spoken. So it certainly feels a lot more natural as well, um, and less forced. And that like forced kind of character just takes up and like zaps energy and things like that. Whereas now I'm just like, this is just how I talk and these are the gestures that I do and things like that. So it certainly feels a lot more natural, and as the program name literally is, authentic.
Mm. Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm,
If you could say like put it into three different words that are kind of like, you've said authentic and you've said
mhm,
natural. Are there three words that you can use separate to those that describe how you feel on the inside now?
mm. What's funny is it's a little bit like that embodiment stuff. Like it feels a lot more warm, bright, and mm, I think exciting. There's probably a more articulate word that I could use, but I think exciting would be the one. Mm,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
mm,
really, really good. That's excellent. I really love
mm.
hearing that. What did you love the most
I
about the
like
10 weeks?
I like the fact that it was one on one. Like that was a huge lever for me. Um, because there was lots of things. I know that there's lots of things that you could have taught me, but you only taught me the things that were the most important. So I never really liked like generic pre-recorded online courses too much because they've got to like make it pretty generic, and then you got to go, okay, this bit's applicable to me. Whereas with you, you'll give me feedback. All right, I know this is an issue. I know this isn't an issue. I know this is an issue. I know if you just do these two things though, you'll 10x. And so we would just focus on those things. And so it's a little bit like, and I don't want to make this a pitch for industry set, but we do the same thing with industry set where everything's one on one because you don't want to like go to school with like a preset curriculum. And let's say you already know how to do X, but now you're just having to relearn X. It's just a waste of your time. It's a waste
Mm,
of your money. And so as with you, it's just like every single thing we were doing was new and impactful. It wasn't just like, okay, like this is how to speak with more authority because you were like, I don't think that's an issue with you. I think like this, like make more eye contact, stop doing this. I'm like, okay, cool. How do we do that? And
yeah.
so everything was, it was basically, I like using the phrase like it was all killer, no filler. There was no like, all right, like this is just a thing that's on my checklist, my syllabus that I've got to teach you. It was all, okay, you don't need that, you don't need that. But if you do these two things, everything else will be improved dramatically.
Yeah, awesome. That's great.
Mm,
I mean, that's a general philosophy that I bring into the world, like bang for your buck.
mhm.
I want
Yeah,
I want bang for my bucks, and I want
yeah,
everybody that I work with to get absolute bang for their buck. You know,
yeah,
no filler shit. I like that. All
yeah,
killer, no filler.
yeah,
I might steal that. So good.
yeah.
All right, I've got a couple more questions here. We've talked about the effect that this has had on you professionally,
Mhm.
right? And if there's anything else you want to share about that, I'd love to hear it. It would also be cool to know what kind of effect this has had on you personally. Now, you shared that
Mhm.
story about Jackson, but that was
Mhm.
like 3 weeks in. So we're
Mhm.
another like 7 weeks beyond that now. So,
Mhm.
what are some of the effects that you've noticed since then, personally
Mhm.
and professionally?
I've always been naturally, it's funny, I've always been a little bit naturally introverted in person, but extroverted online. I've
Mm,
noticed that my communication in real life with people is coming off a lot more authentic and I'm building strong connections. And it's really simple things, but it's like making eye contact and smiling. Whereas before I was very, suppose reserved, unless I was having a couple of margaritas, I was more reserved. Whereas now I'm building, stronger connections with people. People are making comments that like, yeah, you just seem different. You have this different energy about you. And so it's not just the words that I'm speaking and gestures or anything like that. It's also just the energy that I'm bringing when I am interacting with anyone just for everyday life.
yeah, amazing.
Mm.
And that's the same professionally and personally. You're just seeing that across the board.
Yeah, 100%. Like I was saying before, like it affects literally, like if you talk to someone, it will,
Yeah.
the graph has gone up and to the right.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing.
Mm,
Amazing. There was something in there that I want to ask you about. And oh, the things that we learned that I worked with you on in this program, right?
mm,
It's really intensive. It's an intensive 10 weeks. We really like
mm,
hammer stuff kind of and go really hard and try and get to the meat and bones of things really, really quickly, right?
mm,
Um, and and what that means is we've put a whole bunch of skills in place, and now it's your job to continue implementing them in the future. Do you
mm.
feel equipped to continue
Yeah,
implementing?
yeah, 100%. The the thing that I one of the things that I liked the most about the program was that I got tools. It wasn't just like, all right, we have a chat and then that just prepares you for your next conversation. It was like, okay, like here's your protocol for when you had to do a podcast, or here's your protocol when you had to present to stage or anything like that. And that gives me just like a toolkit that I can use. Okay, like if you're feeling a little bit nervous and stressed, okay, you do this and this. Like I do this and this. Other people can do other stuff. And so that kind of Swiss Army knife of tools just being equipped to me. All right, you need this tool and this tool. This one, you know about it now, but like this one and this one are your thing. So that gives me confidence knowing like when I go to my podcast today, like I'm going to be doing my warm-ups and my mindset thing, like the thing that we literally just talked about yesterday. And so yeah, I certainly feel very equipped because I've just got this like Swiss Army knife of tools. I've just got, so, all right, you have this scenario, you fix it with this tool.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, that's
Mm.
so efficient too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, it's not like all right, I need to block out an hour to fucking do an ice bath and then meditate and then all this stuff. It's just like, all right, what can I do in like 90 seconds flat?
Yeah, which is
Like
really
tops.
important when like you're a really high achiever and you like to be really, really busy. So
Mm,
the goal here for me was very much to cater things to your way of
mm.
approaching the world. Was that
Hmm.
helpful?
Yeah, 100%. Because, like I was saying, I suppose one of the like hesitations that I had before was we were learning so many tools at the start. That I'm like, fuck, how am I going to fit any of this in? And
Mm.
then we like honed down to, okay, you just got to do this thing and this. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I can do that in the Uber on the way to the podcast. Might be a little bit weird because I'm doing my dynamic ranges in the backseat and moving. But I'll just tell the dude, hey, got a coach who told me to do this thing. And so there's no like weird, you know, like, oh, I need to do this 15-minute buffer before this thing. Because I'm like, I got to leave this room and then the other room, I got something else to do. So I had to
And
be
you've
able to
got
do
the
it between here
walk.
and the other. Yeah, I was like, I got to do it on the walk there. So, so yeah, 100%. Like catering it to, I suppose, my schedule anyway was particularly useful.
Yeah, great. One last question.
Mm-hmm.
No, two more questions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what has this opened up for you as something new that you think you might be able to achieve or approach or do in your life?
Yeah, 100%. For me, it's actually making me more excited about building a personal brand, which is, it seems unrelated, but it's not, because one of the opportunities from a personal and professional standpoint that I have is actually starting to build more of a personal brand on YouTube and on Instagram for, the different businesses that I have. And part of that requires, creating content, and video content's the whole thing that is what we're doing now. One of the other opportunities that I have is, rather than selling one-to-one, because my calendar is so stacked, selling one-to-many. And so rather than having to do a lot of one-on-one sales calls, I just do one big sales presentation to a room of people, which would usually take me a month to collect that amount of revenue. And so it's created, business opportunities there. But the main thing is it's gotten me excited about filming content. And then the other thing as well is, from a tactical standpoint, it means it actually takes less time to prepare for these things. So for example, actually, yeah, those 4 most recent YouTube videos that I did, usually I would do like a video a week. I just booked in at the studio with Sev, my mate, and I was like, let's just do 4 today. And I just one took all of them. And we only had like an hour blocked out. And he's like, so was that the first one? I'm like, yeah, that one's done. He's like, okay, next one, I guess. So there wasn't like a, oh, I've got to do it again because I was umming and ahhing and I wasn't clear. It was just like, no, turn the camera on, hit record. Okay, I'm done. Turn it off, do the next one. And so I was able to churn out both more quantity and quality in a shorter time period.
Oh, winning.
Yeah.
That's awesome. More
Mm.
quantity, more quality,
Yeah.
quicker.
There was no like retakes. I was like, hit record. Okay, I'm done. It's like, was that it? I'm like, yep. What's the next one?
Awesome. Oh, that's so good. I
I
fucking
also
love
didn't
that.
have to like script it either. I just like wrote a diagram. Like, okay, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. Look down the barrel of the camera. Okay, cool. Go.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Wonderful. All right.
Mm,
Last question.
mm.
Um, anyone watching this, right? And if there's anyone watching this and they're unsure about booking a call, what would you tell them?
Yeah, 100%. One of the things that I suppose philosophies that I prescribe to anyway is that whenever there's a little bit of discomfort around something, it's probably a good indication that you should just lean into it, because no one really learns anything when they're in a particularly comfortable situation. So if you imagine maybe the first time that you went to the gym and you were nervous because you didn't know how to use any of the machines, and everyone there's fucking jacked, or this thing, or like your first time, like, I don't know, asking out a girl or starting a new job, you're always really nervous, but typically that sign is basically a symptom of really massive growth on the other end, but you don't get that unless you lean into it. And so I actually can't think of any examples throughout my entire life where I didn't invest in something or myself and get a return on the other end. So I was talking to my mum because I spend quite a lot of money on education, coaching, things like that. And she's like, how much money are you spending? And I told her, and she's like, when do you want to like stop? Like, haven't you learned enough? I'm like, there's literally zero examples when I've invested in myself and not either made more money or gotten way better at something on the other end of it. So I'm just going to, and I've got a pretty statistically significant sample size of data to go off now. So I'm just going to keep investing in myself because I just keep getting better. There's literally zero examples where I've just done a coaching program and gotten worse at it. Zero, like flat zero. So if you are feeling like, oh, I'm kind of unsure, this is really kind of your sign from the universe to just lean into it and just do it.
Amazing. All right. Any other last things you want to share about the program that might help people realize whether it's a good fit for them?
No, I think the biggest driving point is the ability to work with Diana one-on-one will tailor everything to you, because there's a lot of coaching programs, and I know the word coaching has, I suppose, sort of a bad rep in the education space. But a lot of those coaching programs, you just get put into a group of 30, and it's basically the same as when you go to school or university, where you're just chucked in a group of 30 or 50, you all learn the same syllabus and none of it gets tailored to you. Whereas the ability to work with someone one-on-one for even like 30 minutes to an hour every week, you just get such massive returns because you only focus on the things that are most critical to you. So you're only working on like the highest leverage things, where like, if we just get better at this one thing, the entire program's just paid off probably next week.
Yeah. Awesome.